What's up? Hello, hello. How are you today, Mark? How about it, Kevin? How are y'all going today? I wasn't gonna do this, but I figured, what the heck? I didn't feel like really recording the video in pieces, and it's Friday night. I don't have anything else going on, so here we are. So if you have any questions, this will give you a chance to ask questions as well. I did go ahead and get a little head start. I've got a power and speed test going over on the Omni, not on the Omni, on the Polar, which I will say, as good as it is, I can smell it. I mean, it's not strong, but I do have that raging inferno engulfing a cow aroma in the shop at this moment. But you can see up here on the screen, the Polar is running a speed and power test on a sheet of leather for this project. I don't know if some of you may have not saw already, but I did some hat patches the other day with the Omni, and they turned out really nice. And I've had a lot of messages and folks asking about leather. And so tonight I felt like it was a good opportunity to kind of show you guys a couple of options with the CO2 as well as the UV, because I needed to make some stuff. I bought myself some new AirTags for the trip to Vegas, and I want to make some AirTag holders like the ones that I've made before, and put them together. I found in my little box, I have a couple of them. These were made on a diode. These are some that I did, I don't know, probably a year ago on my X tool. And I've got some other hat patches and stuff, and you can see it's a little different look. And these things have been cleaned, but they're still a little gummy. And then I have this little, but this was a cool little creation that I come up with. This is actually a AirTag holder for a collar for like your dog or whatever. I thought that was pretty neat. You put an AirTag on your dog. That way, if your dog runs off, you can find it with the AirTag. So, but this one is pretty handy. I've got two of these already on my keychains. It folds up like that. You sew it together, put a key ring on it, and it holds an AirTag. So then I went and got my little sewing kit for the leather and my leather concrete cement. Call it concrete. But got all that stuff together, and that's what we're planning on doing tonight. Other than if y'all have any questions, you can ask your questions too. I don't care. I'm here for the next probably 3 hours anyway. I usually try to stay out here and get caught up on stuff till about 10. Bespokes, I didn't do any on the Hurricane. I mean, as far as doing it, it should be very similar to what's coming off the Omtech, because I'm going to be honest with you, the Omtech and the Hurricane's work area, like you could put bigger material in there because of the way it was open. And the Hurricane had the red dot pointer. Cosmetically, there are some things with the Omtech that look better, but functionality wise, the Hurricane's pretty awesome because I could frame it with that little red pointer dot that's in there. I'm really missing that with this Omtech. Like I'd gotten used to that with CO2s, and it's really hard for me to overlook the fact that I don't have that anymore. So I think Omtech kind of dropped the ball on that one, not adding that to this machine. But because the P2S from X-Tool has it now, the Atom Stack has it now. I mean, I know, yeah, there's probably a way I could add one to it, but that's not the same as having that red dot inside the tube. Yeah, I had a good Christmas. I actually got me some magazines for my new hip decoration, my new hip decor. I got myself a Sig Sauer 1911. I needed some extra magazines for it. When I first got it, I went all over looking for magazines and couldn't find any because I wanted the Kimber Pro stainless steels. couldn't find any anywhere. And so I got those. Brandy managed to find a couple and pick those up for me. That's really all. I mean, guys, I don't like my wife jokes with me and says that every day's Christmas at the Clack Shack. And realistically, I mean, seriously, it is. You know, God's blessed me with the ability to play with these toys, a lot of which don't cost me any money. So I don't ask for stuff for Christmas. But she knew I wanted those, and so I got those. But anyway, wait on. Let me go over here and look, make sure our test isn't on fire. I can't really tell in that camera because that module's moving so fast. Okay, so the speed and power test over on the Omtech is coming pretty good. I got plenty of leather. I had a company that was going to order a bunch of hats from me, so I ordered up some leather. That was about 1.5 years ago. They never called back. So, so I've got plenty of leather to play with. So the good news is, even if it goes back ordered, I'm not worried because I got plenty. And this is bourbon. This is the color. Before anybody asks. I normally leave this whole. I think I'm going to try to do that tonight because I don't want to go to cutting it up into little pieces because I'll inadvertently leave some scrap. This stuff's not cheap. This is real leather. This is not pig skin. This is not plastic. This is the real deal. So I've already got the settings for the Omni from the other day when I was playing around. So I'm going to go over here and just, matter of fact, I need to set a camera up where you guys can see me over there without seeing my backside. I'll use the overhead camera. I think that'll work. Let me switch this overhead camera on. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to turn that. Woo-hoo! All right, there we go. I do not have my cordless microphone on, so hopefully I'm going to stay over here. I'm just going to go set this up on the machine and get it ready. All right. So I got it on there. Let's swap over to the other machine on Lightburn here. And I've got, let me find that file. Let me check the comments for a second. Make sure I ain't missing nothing. Somebody may tell me, look at, maybe warning me of something here. Lucine Hayes, hello from Connecticut. What's up, Jack? How are you, sir? Sorry for the video. What, Jack? I'm not sure what. Don't know what you're talking about there. No, I've actually, my phone's like everything I own's GPS. Like my iPad, my phone, my watch, like all that stuff's GPS. So my wife can't lose me. Let's see. Jack's, yeah. I've actually considered doing that with the new one that I've got, but it's got a pretty mean set on it already. So I haven't done leather yet, and I'm just curious if you may know what settings you use on X2 or S1. I haven't done a lot on that. Like I said, I did most of the leather I did on my old D1 Pro 20 watt. Haven't done any in a long time, and no leather, just like any material, no leather is created equal. So you're always going to want to do some testing because the last thing you want to do is run all your stuff on a certain setting and everything just be burnt. and crispy. That's why, over there right now, I am running a speed and power test on the Omtech. I've got some pretty good idea of what the settings are going to be, but I when in doubt, test. If you don't know for sure, just run a test. It will save you in wasted material. Now I will say Xtools does a pretty good job of putting those presets in there, and those would be a good place to start, even if it is for the pleather stuff. A lot of times you'll have similar results with the real leather. You're just gonna have to cut the heat up a little bit. Yeah, I gotta get that one out. Branded. I gotta get that one that I just got out. I've function checked it a couple of times, but I haven't heard it pop, but it functions. So anyway, all right, let's get this file. Let's find this file because I don't even know where I put the thing at. I'm going to import the file. Let me go to laser files. What did I call this? AirTag something another. AirTag holders. There we go. Yeah, see this file. I was in there May the 19th. So I guess May the 19th of 2024. I must have either made some more of them or something, because I definitely have done something with this file back on May the 19th. Let's just open it. All right. So, well, why do I always? Does everybody else always grab that little line? Like I could be 10 feet from it and I'll grab it. So I don't need these. I want the medium thickness on the straps. I'll take those two. Get rid of those. I'll keep this one. All right. So the cool thing is, since I've done all my testing now, and I'm not really worried about this blue line. This was just a little thin, faint mark for, kind of like to show you where the thread goes. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. I'm just going to keep this. All of these are the same. Make sure that's grouped. Yes. All these are the same setting. So I'm going to go ahead and material library. We will go to leather. I just figured this out last night. 2.5 millimeter leather cut. Assign that, and that's my assign speed for that. I do want my logo on there, so we're going to go ahead and drop this logo. I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees. I think it snapped it where it needs to be. Yeah, it's sticking right there. So I think that's going to be about right. Yeah. I think that's going to be about it. Just in case, I'm going to click that one. I'm going to hold control, click the outer shape, and I'm going to use this little horizontal tool. Yeah, it's clicked in there where it needs to be. So maybe shift arrow. Yeah, we'll go right there. All right, so this one, I'm going to go down here to my leather, hit engrave, and I'm going to assign that to there. So those settings I do know work because I used them last night. Now, this is a different roll of leather, and there may be some differences, but I'm thinking I should be okay. So I'm just going to group this, keep it from moving, and then I'm going to try to put it in the center. And with galvos especially, you want to try to stay close to the center if you can, because the further you get towards these farther reaches over here, that's when you're going to start getting a lot more curvature off of that laser. And it typically not going to cause any big problems, but it can also cause the laser to not be as powerful here as it is here. So your settings can be, they can depreciate as you go out. So just one of those little things that you might want to, sounds like the Omtech's cutting over there. Let's watch for fire. This is only like the third time I've cut leather with this thing. And I more or less guessed at the settings. Try to go a little faster on this one to make sure it doesn't flame up. doing like 3 passes at 20 millimeters a second, I think it was. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, 20 millimeters a second, 3 passes. So hopefully it doesn't flame up or anything. I got so much stuff running in this shop. But yeah, all in all, the Omtech machines do a pretty good job. You guys know I like to run them for a while. I don't like to just do a review and then like it disappear. So I'm gonna be running it for a while. I will tell you, it is not containing 100% of the leather smell. I mean, I can still smell it. It's not bad, but I can still smell it. All right, so hang on. For those of you who may not do a lot of leather, I just want you to see this. Look, let me go get a rag. Now I've used this rag for other things, but you can look at the rag, okay? Now watch. All right, see this? This is the only downside to cutting leather with a diode or a CO2 is this right here. And that stuff will get look, it gets everywhere. Like, so that is one reason why I got away from doing a lot of leather with the lasers, and I still do my own personal little stuff because I'm not going to pay somebody else to do it. But between that and the smell, it's a little overwhelming at times. Let me clean this up, and I'm going to look at the settings on here. It can be done, like I said, it can be done with CO2s, diodes. Never done anything with a fiber. Never really, other than what I'm doing now with the Omni, which is technically not a fiber per se, but you can engrave it. It engraves okay. Now this will have to dry because that's why I like using rubbing alcohol, because this won't take but just a few minutes, and this will get its color back. What of it is not stained from the black soot. A lot of times you have to like scrub it to get that off. So we'll set this to the side for now. All right, back to the screen. All right, so we're through with that. We're going to move the Omni over to the side. Now we're going to go with not the Omni, the Omtech. I got Omtech and Omni. I keep messing those up. All right, so I've got all my settings put in here. I'm going to take and I'm going to right click right here and tell it to sort cuts last, which it should already be done. And now this is good to go. I do need to go over here to my laser control and frame. I will double check my focus also. So I'm going to hit that button and I'll take y'all over to the other camera so you can see what's going on. Well, let me hide this. There we go. All right. So, got that set up best I can. Going hot. Contrary to popular belief, I do not have my hair done or my makeup put on before I make videos. People accuse me of putting makeup on. I know it's just because I'm so darn good looking, but you know, anyway. All right, so we got the settings in. We're going to hit start. You will not be able to see the actual laser, so got to make sure to put these on. And you're not going to, there's something else you're not going to see either, is a bunch of smoke, which is cool. See if I can get you over to the other camera. See if you can see any better. Not a lot to see there. You can kind of see it growing a little. Yeah. It's not really on the darkening passes yet. I've got it set to do 4 passes. Each pass goes down a little bit deeper, gets a little bit darker. I've got it set on that layer to do auto rotate of 45 degrees each pass. And it's a little slower than some machines possibly. I don't really think so, because it's actually when you look at the overall process, it's really not that slow. It just, I guess it seems that way sometimes, because it's actually on like the 3rd pass now, and you notice it's not really, there's a little bit of like debris coming off of it, that pipe is just sucking it straight up in there, but not a lot. Look out, cat. Stay down. And then once it finishes the engrave, which is really hard to see with that camera, I might add. I should have put y'all a different camera over there. All right, so now it's starting with the cuts. These are the little tiny holes that the thread goes through on that side. And I'm hoping my settings are correct for this piece of material. Like I said, the settings I did with another piece of material. So, Abram, the only smell with the UV, I'm going to be honest with you, if you've ever walked into like a Western boot store or something, that's what it smells like doing it with the UV. Doing it with the CO2, it smells like someone has set a cow on fire. I mean, it's pretty bad with the CO2. I got used to that because I was doing it with a diode. So this UV is really, it's really changing things for me. It makes it a lot nicer and a lot easier to do this stuff without making a mess. So it looks like it's doing the outer perimeter cut. Like I said, I'm hoping that my settings are still accurate. I'm not going to touch it just in case. I can send the cut again if I need to. But it should be okay. Waiting on it to finish. I do have it doing like 15 passes, but you can barely see the little dot going around. Because leather's one of those things that likes to snag. I got a little bit of a snag where it was rolled over. I should have went ahead and cut it. I should have cut it with the scissors and laid it flat. Let me show you what I'm working with here. Yeah, where it was folded there, I got a little snag right back there. So I got to fix that. But luckily for me, I have a razor blade. But yeah, that was my fault. That part, because of the way it was folded up, was slightly out of focus. But it's just a couple of little, like literally just little tiny spots. Oh, yeah, I won't be doing that no more. From now on, I'm cutting it before I go. So let me lay it on the table here and finish cutting it through. It cut it like literally all but just like a tiny little onion skin. So I should have weighted it. Being lazy. There we go. I got it off. It's got a little fuzzies, little scissors. So yeah, I need to make sure I get it completely flat next time. That was I laid those cards on there thinking I was going to push it down far enough, but they didn't. But other than that one little corner over there, the rest of it cut out okay. The engrave, like I said, the engrave turned out nice. It's not burned. It's just literally, it's just like the leather's missing. All my little holes came out. All the little holes, they fell out like they're supposed to. So it turned out really nice. So now, just for all fairness, y'all saw how easy this went, right? Other than the missed focus. And I guess just to be fair, for the machine's sake, I can get it flat and run another one, but I'm going to make dang sure I got it flat this time. All right, so here we go. We're going to run that again. That was on me. All right, let me get my camera turned around there where y'all guys can see a little better. Yes, a lot flatter this go around. I shouldn't have gotten in a hurry a while ago. That's what happens a lot of times when you got a camera in your face, is you do dumb stuff that messes your projects up. But at least it was salvageable. But I would have liked it better if it just fell out. So we'll do this one over there on that machine, and then I'm going to cut one. I probably won't use it. I'm going to be honest with you, because the way that this thing cuts them out, I don't know that I'll ever do leather on a diode or a CO2 again, ever. Except for in this video, just to kind of show you guys what it does. So I'm going to go over here to the comments for a second and scroll through. If anybody's got any questions that I missed or anything like that, let me know. Asher's asking where you get a leather testing grid for the X tool. If, like I said, if X tool has some presets in XCS, you can always load XCS, go over, see what the preset is, even if you don't use XCS, and kind of snag those settings, and then just use the utility in Lightburn to do a test. That's one way of doing it. I think it's quiet when it's cutting. I'm used to hearing air assist and everything. What's up, James Richards? How are you, sir? STL, what's up, Greg? How's it going over there, sir? Hope y'all had a good Christmas and I guess upcoming New Year. Yeah, Brian, I've got all kinds of setups over there to where I could hold this down, but I just chose not to do it for some reason. You see all the 3D printed stuff hanging off of everything over there. Yes, it is, Bespokes. I know it. They accused me of doing one guy one day he commented and said something about, if you're gonna do, what did he call it? What was it? Something eyes. Something eyes, dark eyes, something eyes. You should at least do it right. Tell whoever did your makeup to learn what they're doing or something like that. And I'm like, dude, I got bags under my eyes. It's not makeup. But, you know, you have those. Those come out of the woodwork. And the thing that kills me is a lot of these guys think that, oh, there we go. A lot of these guys think that stuff like that is going to hurt my feelings, as if I haven't been hearing that crap half my life. Jeez, this leather's a little tougher than what I've been doing. Still got a little spot in the same place. This little piece cut out perfect. Right back there. I'm going to add about 3 more passes to my cut. That is irritating. We ain't cutting out another one, though. That's all I need. Well, I guess I could. There we go. So, yeah, it worked. All the little holes is falling out. It's that one little back corner back there. I guess it's rolling up just enough when it's cutting to mess it up. So let me see here. I'm gonna make this thing cut out in one pass, or in one. You know what? See if you can handle 20 passes. Oh, let's see if you can handle 20. Oh, and I love the pedal too, by the way. Get the frame. So I've got that sewing machine pedal. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty handy if you forget the frame, the way I've got mine set up. Hang on. The way I've got mine set up, if I hit that pedal, it'll start framing, and if I hit the pedal again, it'll send the cut. So that's pretty handy, and it comes with the pedal. So let's do this one more time and see if this time I cannot have to use my razor knife. Let me get some leather ready for the other. Well, that is our piece of leather for the other machine. So we're going to give it just a minute, let that finish. And I'll look at some questions. Smoky eyes. Yeah, Brian, that's what it was. That's what he said. And I was like, I had to go ask my wife and kids. I'm like, what is smoky eyes? Because I thought maybe it was like, you know, some ZZ Top, Van Halen back in the, you know, rock and roll days or something. But they explained it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, those cats. I don't know where in the world. I hope they weren't up top. She may have been up top. They generally leave when I'm in here working, or either they sit around my feet. But you got to watch them because they sneak in and out of that door over there. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know why some people First of all, I don't know why they got something better to do than to sit and try to start something with me. But I mean, seriously, you think that's going to be enough to like ruin my day and make me feel bad about myself? They don't know how arrogant and cocky I am in real life. It's going to take a lot more than that to make me go sulk in a corner somewhere. A lot better equipped people have tried. They have failed. Paper Daddy. That's a new name. Haven't seen that one. I can't hardly see the blue, or the green. I can't hardly see the green text with the glasses on, but I'm trying to be safe, guys. All right. LTX says I finally pulled the trigger and ordered a fiber laser today. I got the Omtech 50 watt. Oh, 50 watt. Yeah. You could probably do some really cool metal engraving with the 50 watt. I want to get a bigger one, but I'm trying to decide what I want to get when I get my bigger shop to where I have more room. I'm going to decide which way to go, because I've got some stuff in mind with CNCs and lasers of some stuff that I want to purchase, because for some reason I don't get they're only going to send us like the 20s and 30s, a 50, 60, 100-watt machine, you're going to have to come out of pocket for that, because they'll send you the B4 30-watt, not the B4 60-watt. So it's, it's one of those things. I'll have to decide which way I want to go with it, and then just push the trigger and buy it. I do have plans to add a gunsmithing certificate to my list of ATF certificates that I have. I've already got, of course, I've already got a bunch of other stuff that's, paperwork with them. So I don't think it'll be a hard sell with my history and background as a armorer in multiple different weapons. But when I retire, I'm going to play with some of that stuff probably. Let's hope this one turns loose like it's supposed to. Got it. All right. All right, so let's turn this one off. Turn that fan off. It's noisy anyway. Woo, much quieter. Still got some fuzzies. I don't know what's up with that corner down there. Maybe it was just like that was a really resilient part of that cow. They come off easy enough. But yeah, so there's the engrave, and it looks awesome. And this has well, it's probably my hands from handling the other. It doesn't have the same strong smell as the other leather burning. I'm not going to say it doesn't have a smell, but it's not like overwhelming, and it's definitely not black. Where's my rag? It's like, here's a clean part of the rag, right? So, like, that little bit of whatever that is, but it's nowhere near what the others like. This almost looks like you cut it with some kind of scratched it until it cut in half, which I guess is basically what it's doing. But anyway, works really well. So now, just to give you guys that don't do this stuff an idea, we're going to do one in the CO2. I'm going to do the same design in the CO2, and we're going to look at it. This is going to be interesting. Let me just go ahead and sacrifice and cut this piece of leather here. All right, so I smalled it down a little bit. Let me go over here and get this set in the CO2. All right. So back to the screen for a moment. Let me see here. So I'm just going to literally cut that off of this screen. I'm going to close this one. All right. Go to my other one. Close that here in a minute. All right. Oh, that's an old picture. Up. Got to get that Get that laser head out of the way. All right, so here we go. Put it about right there. All right, where's my speed and power test I did earlier? All right. So that's after it's had a chance to dry out and so forth. All right. One thing that I will tell you with leather that I have found that helps, and let me go ahead and grab me some out right quick, is this will help with keeping it clean when you cut it and everything, but I find it leaves a residue a lot of times. We'll do it without it. I really don't feel like trying to clean all of the residue off of it tonight. And this, I know how this is fixing to turn out, so we're just gonna go with it. So on the engrave, if I'm looking at this speed and power test, I'm gonna try to go 30% power. I think is plenty at 200. So we'll do on here. Hang on. I'm gonna do 200 millimeters a second. We'll do 30% power. I do want the air assist because this stuff's nasty. Well, we'll turn it off just for this one time. I'm gonna run it at, see what I ran it up here. 0.1 millimeters is what this was set to. It's gonna be 254. I don't know why that's set that way. 0 to 1. All right, so all shapes at once. Yeah, we're good. So that's the feel. And the cut, we're going to go with what I did on this one, and it cut it really well, was 20 millimeters a second. I don't remember what power I had it at, 80, I think it was, but we'll cut it down to 60 and 50 with air assist. No offset. Yeah, should be good, hopefully. All right, so I got that set up. Let me send it over to frame, and we'll be ready to set. I'm going to bump it down just a little, stay away from that edge. All right, and send it over to the machine. And for those of you wondering, yes, this machine can be operated using the start button. But after this last patch with Lightburn, for some reason, I was getting like Lightburn was freezing up. And I couldn't really figure out what was causing it. So I took the machine off of using the start button and set it to send only. And since I did that, I haven't had any hangups. So I don't know if there was a problem with the latest version of Lightburn and this machine communicating or what. But and it could, like I said, I don't know exactly what the issue is, but I do find that I haven't had that issue since I'm sending it to the controller and then launching it from there instead of using the start button. So it could just be my computer's being weird. Let's see what we got going on here. Why are you going to cat to jump on a laser? Yeah, they do worry me. I had one other night. I thought she'd lost a toe because I didn't know she was upstairs, and she came down the steps, and like I didn't know which way she was going. Mike, it depends on which machine you're talking about. I make jigs for about everything that I have. And it's really just a matter of, like, you can either just do the L-shaped jigs on the fibers, or if you got if you want to do a multiple plate, you can do Like you can actually do a panel that sits on the work surface of the fiber and has like 10 spots in it. And then you just set it up there, put a couple of screws in it to index it, hit the button, and then take it off and put another one up there that's loaded. I mean, you can batch them out pretty good. Wonder what that thing's looking like. I'm gonna walk over there and look. That thing's laying waste to it now. It's cutting it. I can smell it. I think I only set that to one pass, didn't I? Yep, somebody only set that cut to one pass. I'm gonna have to run that. I'm gonna have to run that cut one more time. Let's see. Yep, I dang sure did. Let me run it 2 more passes before I move anything. Oh, that's what happens when you're talking. With your if you're talking to me, the F1 jig files, all of them are in XCS. Like I took them out of XCS and exported them over to Lightburn for people that wanted to cut them on a different machine. Starting to smell real leathery in here now, guys. I'm gonna need gloves. Yeah, let me go grab me a set of gloves. All right. The glove up. I don't want to be smelling this stuff all night. It's done. And it's engraved. It fell out. All the little holes, for the most part, have come out of it. But one thing you got to watch for is, see all that little soot right there? I'm going to take this over to my air hose, because the air hose, if you can get, the more of this you can get off of here without rubbing it into the material, the better. So I'm going to take it over to the air hose, step out of the door a little bit right there, and remove some of this. It is raining out there. All right. So before I go to touching it a whole lot, This is another one of my little tricks. I'm gonna take this right here. I'm gonna lay it flat on my desk without rubbing around on it a whole lot. We'll take some of this stuff right here now. I'm gonna pull it off. And for any of you guys that were in the military or canine handler, think of this as one of those little lint rollers. And I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna stick it to the project on the outer side here. Now I'm gonna rub it in there and make sure it's sticky and stuck to it really good. And I'm gonna pull it off. Look at that. That's why. So this is kind of like our lint roller, and you want to try to get as much of this soot off of this as you can with this approach. And it's easy. Like I said, you just literally stick it to the painter's tape and then peel it off. And there you go. You're gonna just, you can roll it up like this if you want to and dab it, but you want to stick it and pull it off there and get as much of this loose residue as you can. As you can see, I'm getting lots of it because the more you handle this, the more it's going to stick into the leather, which is okay if it does. I'll show you a little trick on that too, but you don't want it to do it if you don't have to. This is my second little piece of tape. And like I said, you can just sit here and get as much of it as you can. There you go. Look at that. Look at all of that. So once I've gotten the majority of it, then I'll use me a rag, preferably a spot that's not already covered in soot, and I'll just kind of wipe it as good as I can with that. All right. Now, first glances, that's what we got. All right. It's nowhere near as pristine as that, as you can see. So, rubbing alcohol. I'm going to wipe it with the rag, try to get as much as I can off, but you're also going to darken the leather because some of it's going into the leather. So, yep. Yeah, the tape helps. And you can even, if you could catch them on sale at like Dollar General or Dollar Tree, I don't have one in here. They're actually lint rollers, pet hair rollers. You can actually get one of those and you can roll it, like literally just roll it. And then once it gets dirty, you can peel it off. And so I've got a bunch of them, but I don't have any out here at the time. So hang on a minute. Let me pull up a window here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, here they are. So that's what I'm talking about. It's literally tape, but it's made like a lint roller. And you can use that on the leather to get a lot of the stuff off too. So, and like I said, once you get it fairly clean, like that's not bad. Like it's still got a lot of the soot in it. It's still going to smell for a while because a lot of that soot got into the material. And you can keep spraying it and scrubbing it, but you're never going to get all of that black off of this whatsoever. But if you don't mind the smell, not that big of a deal. And you can also $2,000 grit sandpaper with leather, like let's say like this, because this is a little darker than what I wanted it. So I'll take some of this 2,000 grit right here. And It's kind of like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off type thing. $2,000 grit sandpaper. There you go. And it lasts a long time. Now, you do have to clean your sandpaper occasionally. But yeah, so I got it from being that darker back down to being a little light. It's still a little wet, but once it dries, it'll come back and be a lot lighter. So now we'll compare the two. Now it's a, whoop. This one is, of course, the one on the CO2. This one was done on the UV. But you can see they're looking a lot more similar. A lot more similar. but it's still a little wet, but it looks a lot better now. So this one's actually doable, and I can take the gloves off now. But I just did not want all that burnt stuff. We're not going to use that one right now. We're going to let that sit over there and dry. But yeah, that's just 2,000 grit. Can't really read it. 2,000 grit sandpaper. And it works on hat patches. If you over cook them and they get a little too dark, like when you're buying leather's pretty much the same color. They just tan it darker. So if you ever get leather that's too dark, engrave it and then sand it and it'll get lighter. If it gets too light, then you can take some minkle or some type of leather treatment and put on it and make it back darker. So there we go. Let me turn this CO2 off. So now for the part that I hate. So some of you guys are going to make fun of me, and that's okay, because there's a lot of you guys that know a lot more about this kind of stuff than I do. So we'll just leave it at that. But now I've got to take and put thread through those holes and these holes to put this together like so. Because, oh, let me get one of my little AirTags out of here. Because this AirTag, let me take this little plastic piece off of it. I don't want to pull when you get these things, they have the little piece that goes in there to the battery, like right in there. I don't want to pull that out just yet because that's going to make it go active. But this is going to sit in between here and here, just like that. And it's going to sandwich, and this is going to get like sewn down. It's hard to imagine it, but I'll show you. Well, I guess I can go ahead and I'll go ahead and add this one to my phone. This is going to be the one that goes on my luggage anyway. So let me get my phone on. I'm going to pull that little guy out. And of course, my phone found it. And I'm going to connect it. And we're going to name this one luggage. Continue. Agree. There it goes. Good to go. Oh, wait a minute. It's asking me one more question. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Good deal. So it is now connected to my phone. But these go in here because you want to leave this little silvery piece so you can actually change the battery. Yes, I know what you're thinking. They do actually have batteries. I've had to change batteries in my other two. They take like a CR2032 battery. But that's the way this is going to go together, just like that. This, guys, is my manly sewing kit for leather. All right. Amazon special. I can drop a link if you need it. Yeah, it's just some colorful little wax covered thread. This thing right here, for you guys that are like me, that have carpal tunnel, that likes to flare up, this little round one, especially for hats, is the way to go. It's just easier to hold on to for some reason than that straight one. So strongly recommend that one. All right. Since this is some lighter colored leather, we're going to go with this lighter colored string. There's a There's a way to calculate how much string you need to do all this, but it involves math. So I'm just going to cut it about right there, and I know that'll be plenty. But there is a way to calculate how much of that you need. But I've used this on so many hats and stuff. I use the black a lot, as you can tell. The black's about gone. So that's why we're using this little color here. This has still got plenty in it. But doing hats, this guy here is your friend, and this guy here, because you can punch through the hats. I think this is like called an awl or something like that. Just don't stab yourself with it. This is really stabby. But with this, you just gotta get that through the needle. Look at that. Look at that. I'm telling you, got that. Still got that Hawkeye. All right. So don't criticize. Y'all know this is not my thing. There ain't no way that this is my thing at all. So I'm going to start on the inside right here. I'm going to pull this through. I'm going to put me a little knot on the inside because I don't like putting the knot on the outside. And y'all can tell me, oh, you're doing that wrong. Pretty sure I am. But you know what? I haven't had one come apart yet. So I got me a little knot on the inside there. And I like to start up here on the top. So I'm going to start right there at the front of the logo. And basically, I'm going to halfway sew this thing. And you just got to get it lined up just right. And you can literally see daylight through the holes because I cut the holes with the laser. And so just in one, out one. And like I said, you have to do about half of the thing before you put the AirTag in there, because if you don't, it'll just fall out repetitively. And so this is also, if you think you need glasses, this is a good test to let you know if you need glasses, because it'll make you go cross-eyed. Luckily, I don't need glasses. I do not like sewing, Brian. Now I can stitch stuff up like in a pinch. This little angled this particular needle in a pinch, I could do some pretty creative stitching with it for certain situations. And probably even use this string right here. Drop it down to some rubbing alcohol for a little while. But yeah, this one's going to be kind of cool because it's going to have, now I'm going to go around it twice and fill in each one of those holes. I haven't been using the cement on these just because I really don't see where it needs the cement. On the hat patches, what I generally do is I'll take the hat patch, get it centered, align it where I want it, kind of figure out exactly how I want it laid out. I'll put some of the cement on it, and then I'll wait it, let it sit until the cement hardens up. Then I'll sew it. And the reason I do that is so that it don't move. Like the cement, the glue holds it in place until I can at least let it, set up hard enough that I can sew it without sliding it and getting it out of whack. Because the first couple of hats I didn't glue them first. And what happened was when I started sewing it, I was so concentrating on the sewing that I didn't realize I had twisted it like one tooth off. And I got it sewed on there, and the patch, the Clack Shack logo was like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's what they call us. Is it a saddle stitch? Is that what it's called? I don't know. But anyway, I'm about halfway around it. So now it's kind of like a little pocket. So what I'll do is I'll take my little AirTag and just kind of smash it up in there. And it's going to be tight because you want it tight so it doesn't fall out, of course. And then I'm just going to hold it in place. And man, this is where that part of my hand right there just starts cramping. Like, I don't know if it's just because I'm old or because I'm just not made for sewing or what, but my hand will start cramping. It'll start hurting. So if you start seeing me shaking my hand, I'm not having a stroke or anything. It's just my hand starts cramping and it really, really hurts. So, yeah, like right there, just kind of give that a little snatch. Oh, there we go. All right. So once you make the first complete path around it, see, it's starting to come together now, starting to look like something. Once you get the first path all the way around, it gets easy then because you don't have to like squeeze. You don't have to worry about having to snatch it together and keeping it tight. Like it gets much easier that second path around. And I don't know that I don't know if I got a little lighter. I had a little lighter in there where I do them in the house. I don't know that I got one out here nowhere. So we may have to just tell you how I go about terminating the end of it. Woo, yep, there it goes. Let me rest that hand for a second. Yeah, Brian, I remember I actually had a pager. My dad had a bag phone that looked like a backpack that you kept in the car. Now, you couldn't use it unless it was like a real emergency. I don't even know why we had the thing because I don't think anybody ever used it because it was so expensive to even like call, you know. And I know some of y'all may not remember this, but back when I was a kid, back then you had to pay for like every phone call, especially if you were like out of town. It was long distance. You didn't dare around our house call anybody long distance. Like you just didn't. And so like where we lived, you could literally drive like 20 minutes and it would be long distance. So like if I went over to my friend's house or something, and let's say I was going to be late coming home, instead of calling the house, we would call, but we would do what, and some people may not even know what this is, but what they describe as a collect call. So what you would hear on the house phone at home when I called my dad would be, you have a collect call from David, I'm going to be late getting home. Like, and you'd have to say it real fast because it was normally just like, you have a collect call from David, but I would be like, you have a collect call from David, I'm going to be late. And that was how we communicated without having to pay for long distance. And some of you guys may have already, you may have done that or you may know of it, but yeah, that was a little trick we used. I don't know if we had a monopoly on that around here or what. Okay. So here's where I'm starting to go around with the second loop now. So this will fill in the blank on the first part. Yeah, the party lines, we never had one of those. I know people who did. We didn't at my house. But now there was a time that the phone lines were messing up and we could hear all the neighbors. It was kind of like it was a party line. But see, now I'm going back and filling in the gap between these with the second little winding, and gosh, that hurts. Oh, my hands were just not meant to clench this little needle. And I may have shortened myself on the thread. I hope not. All right. And then back into that one. Yeah. So if anybody ever tells you that I can't sew on a button, I can't actually sew on a button. Do you recall the phrase drop a dime on something? Yeah, drop a dime. That's because that's what it cost to call somebody back in the day. You can't do that no more. Like the last payphone that I remember using, it went up to it was a quarter then. So, you know, you had to keep quarters in your car. But we didn't have cell phones. You either had your CB radio, which I was believe it or not, and some of you guys may figure out, CB radios was big in our area before cell phones, because that was how you communicated with your friends on a Friday night. That was if you got out in the woods and, you know, got stuck or broke down or something like that. That's how you called for help. You get on a CB radio on channel 9, or either like different communities in my area would have like different channels that we talk to each other on. It's like we used to have like channel 32 was ours. And so like all the guys that I ran with, we all kept our CBs on channel 32. And if it was, you know, if you broke down, run out of gas, because you know how teenagers are, run out of gas, broke down, just needed some help. You know, somebody's wanting to scrap, you needed a little bit of assistance or something like that. You could get on channel 32 and call for help. And if any of us were, you know, available and close by, we could be there in just a few minutes. And so I grew up as a younger lad working on CB radios, building antennas, fixing radios, tuning them, because when you buy them, they're not tuned perfectly. Hello, what up, Fluffy? So I spent several years with a soldering iron working on CB radios, putting in Connex boards, echo boards, little toys and stuff in the radios. Talkback was a big thing back in the day. And then, of course, just installing people's antennas for them. Linears. I used to have enough juice in my truck that I could talk to Brandy. I'd be coming back from Florida and would be 2 hours away, and I could talk to her on the CB radio. She would be on my base station at the house, and I would be in my truck coming back, because we had a frequency that wasn't necessarily on the CB band that we kept the base station on, so we could talk, because we didn't have cell phones. There was no such thing. There was no such thing in my house. There was no such thing as a cell phone. I think they had them by that time, but we weren't wealthy enough to have one. Oh. LTX says I installed the first OnStar system. Yeah, that's been a minute too, because I think GM introduced those in the Cadillacs a while ago. All right. I don't know if I'm going to do 2 of these tonight. We may just do 1, guys. This sewing thing's for the birds. Any questions while I'm just sitting here? Cadillacs with the wired car phone. I never had one of those. We never had a Cadillac. Closest we ever had to a Cadillac was a GMC truck. Well, I take that back. My daddy had a Lincoln town car one time. It was a Mark 3, Mark 4, something like that. I remember we had to put a heater core in the thing, had to take the whole darn dash out of it to put a heater core in it because the heater quit working. I grew up in a garage too, by the way. So before I was even old enough to spell my name, I could do a brake job on a car. All right. So I made it to the top. I'm going to go one more pass where I started at. I'm pulling this out the back. Now, we'll get my hands a rest. So I've got it sewn all the way around now. And y'all can go ahead and insert opinions of my sewing now if you want. And you can see it's got the Clack Shack logo on there. I've still got access to the little battery compartment so I can change the battery. But it doesn't pop out of that. It does not. I've got 2 keychains of these that I've got. Baby Clack, maybe think of Baby Yoda. I've got 2 keychains that I carry regularly that have these on them, and I've yet to have that pop out, because once you get that sewed in there, that outer part is pretty much there to stay. So And then what I'll do back here, because I did go like 1 or 2 loops past where I started. And so what I'll do is I'll cut it off about right here once I get inside, and I'll take a lighter and I'll melt it and let it melt and run back. I wonder if I could, maybe I could. I don't think I have one in here anywhere. I can't believe there's not one in my metal kit, my little kit. Wait a minute. I have something that will work. Ah! All right, I'm going to secure my needle before I lose it. All right. Now, take my scissors. So I'm going to leave me just a little bit of this material about right there. All right. Slightly overkill. And then take your finger, or you can use a piece of plastic if you have girl fingers, and take that molten plastic and just push it up in the hole a little bit there. And there you go. There you are. We're done. And I did have a lighter. I just didn't know it. So I got one built. So there you are. Leather crafting with a laser. So got it done. Like I said, the one that I did on the CO2, it's usable. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just you saw how much more work and effort it was to get as much of the soot off of it as I could. And there's still some on there. It's still got a little on there. Now, does that add character and make it look authentic? Yes, sure. Not a problem with the way it looks. It's just is a little more work involved. And now that I have the UV, it makes things a lot more fluid, a lot easier. And like I said, I'm still getting the same desired effect with the engraving. The engraving looks fine, and it's just a little easier with the cleanup and all that good stuff. Like I said, the brown, this is a little darker, like right now, especially because I've been handling it. But all in all, it works. So if you wanted to do it with a diode, same basic setup as the CO2. I just did it with the CO2 because it has a little, like, I don't know, better time with the engraving, it seems like, than the other machines that I have. Because I think and that I just want to use the Omtech because I haven't had it that long. I've had these guys. I have used these guys hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And I've got to use the Omtech as much as I can until something else shows up. Hopefully nothing's going to show up for a little while, guys. I get burnt out on that, really. I mean, seriously. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful. I really appreciate it. But it does get a little tiresome at times. So, all right. So, any questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, Caveman said looks a lot better if he tried. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's one of those things that if you don't get in a hurry and you just sit down and mess with it, well, I got to let me get my key ring too. Let's see. Then you just decide what size key ring you want on it. And which this one's going on my luggage, I think. So you take the keychain, and like I said, I've got different sizes of these as far as the little neck goes, but I got that middle one because I knew that these key rings that I have are like a 3/4 inch. I got 3/4 inch and 1 inch. The 1 inches are a little big for stuff like this, so I use these little 3/4 inch ones. And so once you put that on there, see, now I got a cool little keychain. Or you can put a zip tie on it and use it as a, like, you can do it for all kinds of things. I've actually had some parents that wanted these made for kids, so that like they could put them on their kids. So you can, if something was to happen and you misplace your child at the mall or something, you can use the app to find them. And it's not a terrible idea as a fail-safe. I would not depend on it to keep my kids safe, but as a backup, as a plan B, not a bad idea. Like I make these and give them to like for gifts, because I promise you, I've got one guy that I work with. I worked with him a long time. I bet I've helped him look for his keys. Got to be at least 100 times. All right. I gifted him one of these for Christmas a year or two back. Ain't had to look for keys since, because he's like, man, what did I do with my keys? And you'll see him pull his phone up. It's like, woo, there we go. So they make really good gifts for people. You can put them on your backpack. You can put them on your purse for you ladies. If you've got a bicycle and you live in the city, you can literally make this thing and like hang on your bicycle somewhere. I mean, there's lots of uses for it. Pets. This one's not the one I made for pets. I do have the one over here somewhere that I actually made it. It's a similar design, but it goes around a belt or collar. This one could be used for either pets or kids. Like you could literally take your kid's belt and run this belt loops through there and put one of these on your kid. So, and I already had a couple of them made. Like I said, I was just wanting to demonstrate to you guys. This one was made on a diode. So there's the diode and CO2 comparison. Very similar results. You see this one's a wider band than this one though. So yeah, it's fun stuff. I do have, and I think I'm gonna keep this one with me, and I'm gonna take this one over to Las Vegas with me, maybe, if I can remember to put it in my bag. And I'll give it to Steve when I see him. I'm not putting it on any of my stuff. I got enough Venturi's workshop stickers everywhere. But yeah, so I got 2 more of these to do, guys, but I am not doing them right now because my fingers are tired. I'll put them in my little box of leather goodies here, and I will get to those when I get to them. So I'm going to go put my keychain back up. But before anybody asks, if you Sharon, if you do the masking, it's going to keep the masking is going to protect this part from getting the black soot all over it, but the burnt edge is still going to be sooty, and the engrave is still going to be sooty. You're going to need to tag that, and you're going to need to clean that really good before pulling the masking off. The masking is more or less just to protect the unaffected area. But if you have an air hose, you can do like I did. Once you get it off of the machine, don't touch it, don't rub on it, don't do anything to it. Take it over. Use the air hose to get the majority of that loose material off, and then use a painter's tape or one of those little lint roller tape deals, and that gets a lot of it off. But sometimes you just got to get you some alcohol and a rag and go after it. But yeah, I have lots of leather. Like I said, I had a company that was wanting 100 and something hat patches at one time. And so I ordered enough leather to do those hat patches, and then they backed out after I got all the materials together. And I think I gave like 1 roll or sold 1 roll to Klein. Nope, I think I gave it to him for a job he did for me. And then I've had all that left. So if anybody in my area wants leather stuff now, with the new machine, I'm going to be honest with you, I would take that job again. I used to wouldn't, because it was just so hard to get all the soot off of it. And I didn't mind doing it for my stuff. But when you start trying to sell something and you know how much of a pain it is, it just takes the wind out of your sail, because you're like, you give me $100 for one of these things, or I'm not doing it. So I have been sending my work. The last order for hats I gave to Klein, and Klein's like, heck yeah, man, I'll take it. That's when he got that roll of leather from me. And he called me back. It was like 6 or 8 hats. And Klein called me back like a week later. He's like, I know why you sent me that job now. Because he was sitting there trying to sell it. He said He said, I'm going to go ahead and put hats on my jobs that I don't like to do also, which I don't mind doing them. I hate the sewing. Brandy usually sews the patches on the hats for me. I'm not going to fib you guys. She'll sit there and watch the news or something like that, and she'll sit there and sew them on like it ain't nothing to it. Because it's not that terribly hard because I actually drill the holes with the laser. You're not having to gouge through the leather. Jack, hold on. Jack, I currently have 4. I lost one of the rescues that I had. They couldn't get it together. And so right before the fall came, I wound up there was a few bees in there. The queen didn't make the trip when I collected the swarm, or she flew off to get bread and got ate by a bird or something. I don't know what happened, but they never would start laying any eggs, and so the number of bees just kept getting less and less and less, and I wound up just throwing them in with another hive, with another queen, to strengthen that hive, and so that consolidated 2 hives into one. So I've got 3 back here that I just went in the other day and pulled the strips out of, and they're all doing good. And then I got my big hive up on the hill that's doing really good. They still had a good bit of honey left, which it'll have to last them. That honey here, it'll have to last them until probably around April. But I've been feeding them a little bit of sugar water, so that helps them hold on because they don't have to use as much of their honey up. All right, what we got here? Nathan said, I'm sorry if you've already answered this. I'm just wondering if you've made a special shape for your stitching for the little circles that's evenly spaced, or do you make shape for each hole? Well, time for a light burn lesson. We'll go over that right quick. So let me just get this out of here, and let me clean my work area out. All right, so the way that I do those is, let's say you wanted to do a hat patch that was we'll say 110 by 110. All right, so we got that, and we're gonna set that as a cut. And you wanted to make this into something that you could sew, and you wanted those holes. All right, the way I like to do it is I would take this line, and basically I'm just going to go over here, offset tool. I'm going to come inward, and usually I'm going to want to come in 3 to 4 millimeters. We'll do 3.5. So we'll come in 3.5 millimeters with another line. We're going to leave the line that already exists. So we're going to turn that off and hit OK. Now that line, I'm going to, this little thing in my way, I'm going to turn that line into a tool line. All right. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make my little circles. These little circles are going to be like 2 by 2 millimeter circles, or you can even do, like, depending on what you're doing with it, you can do like a 1 by 1, 1.5 by 1.5, whatever size you want to do. We'll do 1.5 by 1.5 just for good measure. All right. And then I'm going to take this little, and I'm going to set this one to where it's centered on the line right there. So once you do that, you take this guy, hold that button and that button, and tools, and where okay, hang on, having a brain snoot here. Where's my, there it is. Copy a long path. And you're going to go over here and then just keep hitting this little up button right here. And it's going to keep adding them until you figure out exactly how many holes you need to put it together. You can just hold the button down, and it's going to keep adding, and keep adding until you decide, okay, that's how many holes I need. That's the spacing that I want. And you can do it this way. You can say, I want 3 millimeter spacing between them. And do it that way. Or you can just the number of holes. There's several different ways you can do it. If these were not circular, like if these were squares, hang on. Let me cancel that. And let's take this little guy. Take this little guy out. And we're going to put a square here. All right. Or somewhat square. We'll do a 1.5 by 1.5. All right. So we're going to take this little guy and I'm going to put him on that line. All right. And then we're going to go have him selected. Go over here to the line that you want to use as your distribution. Hold control and click it. And then you're going to go over here to arrange and copy along path. If you wanted those, let's say you wanted them all the way around it, but you wanted them 5 millimeters apart. We're just going to go right here to space between copies and hit 5 millimeters. Well, if you notice, it's trying to keep them oriented up and down just like the original. But if you hit this button here, it's going to allow that shape to conform to that line. So as that line turns into a circle, so will your shape. So that would allow you to be able to put them around through there like that. And so that's how I get the holes. And it can be like, it doesn't have to be a circle, guys. You can literally, let me see, let me find something. Man, it is coming down. We got some rain here today, guys. All right, like we can literally, I'm going to ungroup these. Y'all hear that rain? All right. Now, one thing that you got to watch for, like if I was going to do that using this shape right here, if you right click this, it's got to be a path. Like there are sometimes, like say if you wanted to do it with the letter A. All right. So we got this big A. If you wanted to put a shape throughout this A, if you tried to do it with it, it's not going to let you do it. And let me show you. Let me demonstrate here. And I know that's not exactly circular. Oh man, it's coming down. So if I click that and then I click this, all right, if I go up here to arrange and copy along path, well, it's actually going to do it. But you see how it's just cattywampus. It ain't doing it right. So a lot of times you'll have to go in here and convert it to a path. And then you can take that, arrange, and copy along path. Well, it still ain't going to do it right. It's kind of trying to follow it. But anyway, yeah, that's a cool little tool. And that was a really crappy example of how to use it with odd shapes. But we'll use this one. Take that one, click here, arrange. Well, it's not letting me do it now. I done screwed something up. Anyway, all right. That's it. I was on a roll. I should stop. But yeah, it's a handy little tool. And like I said, I do not. I find things in Lightburn. Every time they update, I find new tools or new things that I didn't use. A lot of times, like I know some of you were probably hollering at me when I was dragging those circles. Like, if you'll hold control, it'll stay a circle. I know. I just don't do it. Like if I'm making a square, I just drag it and then I go back and fix it. It would be much easier if I would just like hold control or whatever to keep it. What is it? Is it control or shift? It's shift, isn't it? Yeah, it's just one of those buttons. If you'll hold it, yeah, shift. If you'll hold shift, it'll actually keep it the same height and width. I don't ever use those. I just stumble through Lightburn helplessly sometimes. Oh, yeah. That's what it was. Okay, yeah. Let me fix that. That's why I had it outside. It was facing it. See, and that's if you don't use these things a lot. Yeah. So let me get this back over here. I'm gonna redeem myself because they reminded me what I was doing wrong. If you put this out here in no man's land, it's going to try to offset it on that shape. But to do it properly, you need to place it to where it's splitting that line. And then hold control, hit this button, arrange, and copy along path. And let me just throw a few more of them on there. So now it's copied them along the path. So same thing with the, but if you put it, let me show you. So if you put it, like say if you take this and you set it out from it a little ways, like right there, it's going to try to space that thing away from the shape. And that's when you get this weird stuff. Because if you notice those on the outside, see these guys here? It's trying to space them away from the shape the way this one is. And then like these, it's trying to do it on the inside, and it's just that inside shape's just screwing everything up. But anyways, you get the idea. Yeah, control keeps it from snapping, which I actually starting to like the snap. I used to hate the snap, but I've gotten to where I like it because it's pretty accurate. It used to it seemed like it wasn't as accurate to me, or maybe I just didn't give it a chance. But now I actually kind of like it when it snaps because it saves me a little bit of trouble. So what else y'all need to see or want to see, or anybody got any questions, comments, concerns? Yep. Wow. Good deal. At least somebody learned something. I didn't confuse everybody, because I will confuse you if you don't watch it, because my mind works weird sometimes. But yeah, leather works with the laser. It does smell like leather in here still. So what else you got? Y'all got anything y'all want to see? Anything you want to do, guys? If not, then we'll wrap this thing up. Like I said, I really didn't. I was going to do a long form video, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a live. That way, it's done. I've got this done. I'm not sitting over here trying to move cameras around and all that, because that can be a little cumbersome sometimes. And let's face it, it's a little cool to be leather on a CNC. Ooh, I don't know how I would do that there, Jack. I mean, I guess I'm not going to say it's not possible, but I don't know that I want to try that. Black engrave on stainless steels with the Ultra. Yeah, you can do that especially with the Ultra. You can really do dark engraving with the Ultra. Let's see. Can you mark stainless steel with a diode laser? Yes. You can actually mark stainless. You can mark stainless with a diode without spray. Any other metals, you're going to have a spray to mark it. The stainless is one of those things that if you find the right settings, you can definitely mark it with the blue diode. I don't think I got any test grids that I can specifically say was done with which machine, but yeah, the blue lasers, you can actually do color on stainless steel, but not the color. The stainless steel with colors is like a gimmick unless you have really thick metal and you have like a 60-watt MOPA. It's just hard to. Those things are hard to recreate. So let me show you right here. We're gonna go with the F1 Ultra. If it hadn't lost my, hang on. I did do that update the other day, so it could have, oh, there it goes. There we are. All right, so we're going to go ahead and change the material up here to stainless steel. What is this card? Silver stainless steel. Stainless steel. Either one of these will work. So we're going to go with that because it says it's stainless steel. All right. Refresh my background there. And auto measure. Oh, and for those of you that don't know, Steve and I will be in Las Vegas for CES with, why is it failing? Silvery metals. Piece of black construction paper is your friend. Highly reflective surfaces like that, a lot of times the little laser that it uses to do the auto measure will bounce right off of it. So keep a little piece of black construction paper handy, throw on top of whatever's in there. Now, I said it would. It normally does. Let me make sure. Okay, no, that's what I thought. Let me go investigate this. I may have messed something up when I moved it. All right, I had to head all the way down. That may have been what causing it. Whoo! Okay, the lights went off. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, y'all gonna kill me. Guess what it is? I was moving it. I put the lens cover on it. That's why I didn't see the blue dot when I went in there a minute ago. Oh, I never put the lens cover on that thing, but I moved it from over there back to over here and put the lens cover on it. Oh, what an idiot. All right. So we want to do a dark color. So we're going to set that to engrave. With XCS, you can kind of go over here and pick your color. Now, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. It's not 100%. Sometimes you get lucky. It's not 100%. So I'm going to set that to engrave this little rectangle, and I've selected this box, which, if you look at it, that's kind of a gray. So that should be as close to black as I'm going to get. And then I'm going to frame first just to make sure that, all this moving. I haven't screwed nothing up. I don't want to burn the bed up. All right. So I'm using blue light on this one. So somebody was asking about the blue diode doing stainless steel. We'll do the blue light first. And this is just going to be a little square in the corner of that stainless steel piece. And sending it over. Oh, this is the one part of these things I don't like. So it is running. You can't quite see it in any of my cameras, even if I go to the overhead. But okay. So let's recapture the image. See how accurate this camera is. Make sure I didn't knock it off moving it the other day. No, it's still pretty darn accurate. So move that over. There is the blue diode. Okay, I'm going to move that little over right there. We're going to set that on fiber IR. And let's see. It's not giving me a different. I was expecting it to change my stainless steel. 20 watt for 55. Oh, this. So it's basically showing doing it on that. Hang on. Pretty sure. All right, there we go. Silver stainless, X-Tool 20 watt 1064. Click that. That's going to apply for the fiber, and we'll run that. Nathan, mine didn't in the beginning. It should now, or it did last time. Hang on, I'll show you. Yeah, see, that was fast. That's the difference between a fiber. All right, so I'll update my overlay here. Checking the camera accuracy again. All right, camera's still really exceptionally well. That's blue diode and fiber. Let me get them off and I'll show you what they look like on the camera. So there you go. The one closest to the corner, that's the blue diode. And as you can see, it's like a gray, black with a little hint of blue. It's almost tried to turn blue on me there. But you can do that with any blue diode. Now, I will say the Ultra does a really good job of not showing lines. But yeah. And let's see. Nathan's asking, does my machine show 0 when there's nothing in there? So let's find out. It used to. We'll find out if it does today or not. There's a whole lot of calibration you have to do to those lasers and stuff in there. If it doesn't. It used to. Yeah, there it goes. 0. As you can see, mine shows 0 now. Now, if yours is not showing 0, when you do that, then there is some calibrations, and you have to go into your device settings and see parameters, and you have this one here that you're going to need to run, and this will calibrate, and you're going to have a piece of that scratch paper that came with the machine or something similar, and you can run this, but do not click start calibration unless you're ready to do it, because it'll delete your current calibration. So just little note, don't do this until you're ready to do this, because I clicked it the first time, just going to look at it. And then I had to do it. So that is what you're going to want to calibrate, because a lot of times what it is, it's not the lasers aren't calibrated correctly. And that's why it'll give you that bad read. It'll show like a distance that's not there. So like I said, with mine, I can hit the button and it's going to show 0. Now, when I first got it, it did not. I had to calibrate it. So put that in there. It's going to show 0. Let me go get a business card. Well, this is a piece of brass, a really thin piece of brass. So I put a real thin piece of brass in there. It's like maybe a millimeter thick. And we'll see what it measures out to. And then I'll measure it with the calipers and see how close it gets. It gets it really close. Okay, so let's say it's 1.3. All right, let's get it out of there and measure it. Calibers and 0 them. Either my calibers are off or something, but it's only showing 40.49. But yeah, I think it's technically supposed to be 1 millimeter. These aren't exactly scientific grade calibers. Yeah, but it's like 0.48. So it does okay. Like I said, I haven't had a big problem with it. But if it's not showing a lot, there goes Fluffy. If it's not like really, really off, I don't know that I would worry too much about it. I got to make me another lens cover for that machine like I did for these guys. Because these guys, I don't ever forget my lens covers. Because I've got my nice little remove before lasering tags hanging off of the covers. So I need to 3D print one for the F1 Ultra as well. Belts getting me. Oh, but yeah, like I said, if it's only showing 0.02 or 0.2, Nathan, I mean, yeah, it would bug me too. But I don't know that it's actually having any negative effect with that little bit of a deviation. I haven't made one yet for that. But if you're still hanging out, you know what we could do? We could make one. So let's go to the screen. All right, so we're going to need 3D modeling software first. This is what I use to do my creations for 3D printing. It is not the cheapest thing going, but it is a really powerful software, which I have only scratched the surface of learning how to use. The way that I learn how to use stuff is I get in here until I get to where I can't like do something, and then I'll sit there until I figure it out. So yeah, the UV doesn't seem to perform really well on brass. If I was doing any kind of metal, for the most part, I'm gonna go with the Monport, or the ComMarker B4, whatever you got. The UV to me, like I said, if you bought it and you wanted to do a little bit of metal stuff here and there, you could, but it is much slower than using an actual like fiber that's made for metal. So this is where we start at right here. So the first thing we've got to do is I've got to create a sketch. In order to create a sketch, I've got to determine what plane I want it to be on, and just out of a habit, I use this one. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to click that plane. Okay, this is going to throw us up into doing a drawing. Now we need to know, how big do I need it to be? So my first thing that I'm going to get is I am going to get my outer diameter of this thing from outside to outside, figuring out how big I want it to be. Let's see here. So if we do 121 on the outside, that should make it good enough. I'm going to do a center, starting at the center. I'm going to go out and 121 millimeters. Hit enter. All right, now I need my inside diameter. That is how big does the part that goes over the actual lens need to be. And this can be a little tricky because of the way that these things flex and everything. So my micrometer is saying 117.74. So I'm going to go ahead and round that up to 118. Hopefully that's not going to be too loose because you don't want it too tight. You have to beat it to get it on there. So I'm going to do 118 on that one. Hit OK. All right, so that's got those are our two critical measurements. Those are really the only thing that I need to measure to be able to do this job. So I'm going to hit finish on my sketch. So now I have, I've got this part here, and then I've got this little centerpiece right here. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go down here. I'm going to zoom in until I can select that guy, right click on it, and I'm going to tell it to extrude, which basically means just push it away from there. And on the ones that I've been making for the other machines, I'll generally do like 10 millimeters at the most. Since this one's kind of a prototype, just to make sure I don't waste too much material, I'll do a 5 millimeter. Actually, let's do -5 millimeter. I'm going to push it out the bottom and go ahead and hit OK on that. Then that's the part that's going to snap around the lens. Like the lens is going to fill up in this void right here. So now I need to do the top. So in order to do the top, I'm going to click that line there, and I'm going to hold shift, and we'll click this little circle here. Right click on that. I'm going to tell that to extrude, and I want it to be about 2.5 millimeters thick. You can go 3, but I'm going to do 2.5 millimeters thick. I'm going to tell it to join the other piece so it makes it into one piece, and hit OK. And where did it? Oh, what the heck? It unselected my. All right, hang on. There. Let me do the inside one first. See, always when something's going on here. Where in the world? Show my sketches. There we go. Get that one. Shift, click, extrude. 2.5. All right, so now I have it designed to where that snaps over the lens and this is the back. All right, so now I need to come off of this with my little handle. So I'm gonna look at the top view, throw me down another canvas. I'm gonna select the top of this little piece. All right, and I'm gonna do me a rectangle, but I wanna do a center point rectangle. So I'm gonna go right here in the center and I wanna make this little rectangle, like we'll say 2 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters wide. And I'm gonna hit tab to go to the other measurement and we'll make it 25 long. Okay, it's got that drawing, finish the sketch. Now I gotta go in here, extrude this. I'll come up with this one, 25. That's gonna make that square. So now I should have a little 25 millimeter piece sticking up like this. So now I've got to put me a hole in that to put my keychain through. So I'm going to hit right there, a little hole, drop that guy there. Let's see, 8 millimeters would be plenty. Okay, finish sketch. Click that guy, extrude, -3.5. Make sure I go all the way through it. All right, so now I got the top on it. Now to round this over, you can do it a bunch of different ways. I could have done it when I drew it. I could actually go now and draw, you know, a shape on there and fix it. Or I can just select these two corners, put a little fillet on here and set that fillet to like 10. And what that's going to end up doing is rounding it over like so. And then hit OK. And so there we go. That's going to be the bottom. So it's actually going to sit like that. And then I can attach my little thing to the top there. So I can also go right here, change of the appearance. You're going to like this one. Bodies. Where'd they all go? There they are. Plastic. All right, so now we can go over here into render. And there you are, guys. So that is the build. So I'm gonna go back to design, and now what I got to do is first I got to save this, and I'm going to save this in my 3D printing directory, and it's going to be a F1 Ultra lens cover. I'm gonna save it. All right, now in order to print it, I've got to export. And I'm going to go over here. I like going with a STL. Depending on your software, you can use an OBJ. I mean, a lot of these will work, but I prefer STLs. So I'm going to export that. Oh, wait a minute. Did it export it to the right place? It usually asks me. Let's see where it went. Yes, it did export it to the right place. So now we can close Fusion and get out of that. We'll give it a minute because it does save in the background, so it takes it a minute sometimes. Then the next thing I'm going to need is Bamboo Studios. So my printer is actually in the house, but I keep it on standby all the time. So it's ready to go. And like you can see, there's my remove before lasering, which I have one of them around here already somewhere that I did. That was the last file that I made. This is actually a 4-inch adapter for the F1 Ultra because when I moved it to where it's at, I needed a 4-inch adapter. So I made that for the back of it. So I'm gonna go over here to my bamboo studio. I'm gonna grab this. It should be in my created file. So I'm gonna grab this STL that we just did. F1 Ultra lens cover. Drop it in there. This little auto orient button is fabulous. The way I built that one, I knew it was gonna sit in there like that. But that little button's fabulous. If you have something that you're not sure about, you're new to doing this. Supports. I have fell in love with trees lately. They break off so much easier than the traditional little squares. The trees are the way to go. So I'm gonna put some trees on there for supports, and I'm gonna slice it. Then it's gonna take it for just a few seconds here to slice. Those are gonna be some stumpy little supports because it's only like 2 millimeters. If it wasn't for this little tab on top, I could flip it upside down and make it print faster, but I can't. So you're looking at, with all the tests and everything, I'm going to be using 45 grams of filament. The model's actually only getting 31. So that means I'm junking 14 grams into supports. It's going to cost me $1.13. 5 minutes, 42-second preparation time. The print time is going to be 2 hours and 4 minutes. Now, I am running bare bones stock settings on my machine. I am not pushing it in any shape, form, or fashion because I'm not in a hurry. I'll let this thing print. When I wake up in the morning, I can promise you it'll be done. So this is the model. I do have multiple colors on my machine selected. Of course, I'm going to be using the CLACKSTER orange there so that matches the rest of the machines. I do enable bed leveling, float out. I enable that every single print. It's really not necessary, I don't think, if you're printing like just one right behind the other, behind the other, behind the other. But some days I may go a week without printing, so I just leave those enabled. I've turned time lapse off because it's cool and all, but it was actually causing some noticeable lines in some of my prints, and so I just turned that off. I don't need that. If I want a time lapse, I'll set up a GoPro and do it that way. So then I am going to hit send. So yeah, like I said, I could print them separately, but like I said, I'm not in any hurry. No, this is in the house, so we'll hopefully nobody's walking through the living room where my printer is set up. Let me move that over here just in case for a second. We'll bring that back in just a minute. Once I make sure what's going on in the house. So, I didn't want to, because like I said, the printer is in the house and they have no idea what I'm doing out here probably. Actually, okay, everything's good. Actually, there are some children and my wife over here noticing that my 3D printer is just activated. But there you go. But yeah, so the printer is off to the races. Let me see. I think I've already got it. Pretty sure I do. I don't know where I put it. I've already got one of the labels somewhere. I don't know what I did with it. Well, oh, there it is. I knew I had one somewhere. So I've already got this part. So this is one of the benefits of having the AMS is that as long as you made the letters stick up further than the orange, it really doesn't waste that much filament to go ahead and do those in black. So there you go. All right. So any other questions, concerns? We'll be right back. And if you were wondering, it is still raining outside. All right, so I know this was supposed to be in the leatherworking class, and it's kind of spilled over into lasering and 3D printing. And I saw somebody asking about CNC work, but I don't think we want to do any CNC work today. Oh, and I do have, y'all know what that means. Does anybody that's watched the channel for a long time knows what it means when you see something in my shop wrapped up with a green cloth? That's something that y'all can't know about yet. Just to let you know before somebody asks me, why is there a green thing wrapped up under my CNC? That's a surprise for you guys. And you'll get to see it soon enough. That's right, Robbie. That is top secret. I actually had to sign an NDA on that one, so y'all can't see it. No, actually, I don't think they made me sign one this go around, but I've done enough with them before that they know I ain't gonna say nothing. Now, I haven't heard from, actually, I haven't heard from them. Jack, I actually have a whole bunch, and I've got to put it on there. I bought, when I got my machine, I got a bunch of that support material. But the problem that I have with it is every time it switches from, like, it's going to wind up using, to me, it seems like it would use just as much material, because it's going to be switching from the support material to the project material, from support material to the project material, back and forth. And it's going to add time to the print and everything. So I've got to where I don't fool with doing that. I really wish I hadn't got all those rolls of that support material, because it sounded like a good idea in concept, because it was a lot cheaper than the regular filament. But it's just not working out for me. Now y'all gonna all be trying to guess on what kind of machine that is over there. But no, it's not a Rolly. It's not a Rolly. Sorry guys, I haven't heard from Leo on that one. Steve did send me a link today saying that they were teasing the new MK3. But I haven't heard from Leo, so I don't know. And to be honest with you, I've got so much going on right now in the shop, and I'm running out of real estate again, and I'm trying to back away from all of the review stuff. But the machines that I've been getting offered lately, like the ComMarker, the UV, I've never had a UV. People ask me, "Hey, what do you think about UV?" I don't know, never had one. So I just wanted to go ahead and get the UV to try it out, and it's really cool. And like I said, it's like I've told people before. If someone sent you an email and said, "Hey, we're going to send you this machine that you would love to have, that you probably have a need for in your shop, just try it out. And if you don't like it, just do a couple videos with it, and you can, like, throw it away or whatever." Who wouldn't? You know what I mean? Who would not do that? Which I do like it. I figured I would like it, because this is my third ComMarker machine. I had the ComMarker B4 20 watt, and then I had the ComMarker Q1, which was their attempt at a blue diode Galvo. It was an okay machine. I don't mind it. Bill's got those over in his shop right now. He's got the ComMarker B4 as well as the Q1 in his shop for the moment. But yeah. So this is the third ComMarker machine I've had, and I like them. I mean, they're good machines. Yes, the UV is very expensive compared to a regular fiber, but it's the nature of it, I guess. Wow, look, I just got completed my rings. All right, from the looks of it, MK3 is a bit farther off than they'd hoped. It's got some kinks to work out from the teaser post and what Leo and Dimitri commented. It's a Galvo diode on a gantry frame and had a zoom axis bed. So it's got does it have a movable bed? If it does, then maybe, because if somebody would come out with a machine and whether it's X-Tool, Omtech, any of these guys, if they would just give us a little bit of an adjustable bed, that would make life a lot easier. Because a lot of these machines, I like a lot of the stuff that they're putting in them, but I love the bed being able to move up and down. That's why I love Enclosurizilla so much. Jack, they've went dark on that as far as I've heard. I think they're still working on it, but you know as well as I do from your experience with CNC, and it's a little more complicated when you start trying to build tool paths for a CNC as opposed to a laser. It's a lot more goes into it, you know. So I think they're having to try to work the bugs out of it, because the one thing that would be worse than taking a longer time to put out the product is to put out a bad product and nobody buy it. So they're going to definitely want to make sure they got it right before they release it. But anyway, any more questions, comments, concerns? It's a 9/11. Us old people don't have a problem with going to bed at this hour. So if nobody's got any more questions, like I said, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. It was fun. We got us a nice little AirTag holder made. If any of you were interested in it and didn't want to make your own file, feel free to go check out my Etsy shop. And there's this file as well as the other ones you saw are on there. If not, I showed you how to make your own for the most part. There's a few steps we didn't go over, but we did go over the holes, because that's the thing that usually gets people is, how did you put all those little tiny holes around there? And yeah, it took me a little while too, because when I first started trying to make this, I'm like, man, copying and pasting these little holes and trying to get them all separately. Yeah. And then I realized, okay, there's an easy way to do that. But I designed this I don't know, 2 years ago now, I think. It's been out for a while. But I just kept seeing them on Amazon. And I was like, I can make that out of leather with a laser. And now that I've got the UV, I can make it a lot cleaner than I used to. Lance is needing some advice, guys. He's wanting to know how to go about convincing the wife to let him get a bamboo, trying to decide A1 or P1S, and if I really need an AMS right away. Lance, being able, if you want to be able to do, and it's not the end of the day if you don't, if you want to be able to do like the 2-color printing, the AMS, you got to have. All right. Other than that, and the fact that, like, let's say you've got a little bit of filament left on a roll, but it's not a lot, but you don't want to have to take the roll off and weigh the spool, weigh the filament, and try to figure out, okay, is this going to be enough to feed it? Is it going to be enough? Because, because you can't trigger the run out sensor. So you're having to feel, or would it be easier just to be like, okay, I've got this roll of black that's got a little bit left on it, and I got this other brand new roll over here, and you just set the AMS to where if this roll runs out of filament, just automatically load this roll and go back to printing. That's the two things that you get with the AMS is you can do multiple color prints. But the really cool part to me is, instead of like before where I had like little pieces of rolls of filament left over, I run them completely dry now, because I go ahead and preload another roll of that same color and tell it to auto flop over to this one when this one runs out completely. And then I just go in and take the empty spool off, order a refill from Bamboo, because you don't have to buy the spool. You just buy the refill for the spool and rock on. So it has its advantages. But if you're not wanting to do really big stuff, I'm going to be honest with you, the A1 Mini is a really good deal right now. If you wanted to just get started. Because the A1 Mini, I don't remember what the work area is. It's pretty small. But for like 4-inch adapters for machines or lens covers and stuff like that, you could do it with A1 Mini. And I think they had that thing the other day for like right around $200. But if you can get the A1, I think the A1 is a good one. You don't really, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I'm not the 3D printing guru. You don't really have to have the P1S or the X1 carbon unless you're going to start printing with ABS and some of the higher end, higher temperature, more particular filaments. If you're printing with PLA or PETG, you're good with the A1. And anybody else wants to chime in, feel free. But from what I've been told, once you get to like ABS and some of the other harder, carbon fiber stuff like that, then you've got to have those machines with a little bit better hot ends, a little bit better heat beds, and enclosed and all that. But if you start printing with those types of materials, also it is recommended that you ventilate your machine more so than PLA or PETG. So it depends on what you want. Yeah. If you've got access to a mini, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. The A1 is kind of the sweet spot right now, as far as I'm concerned, because with the A1, it's big enough to do most stuff, but it's affordable. It doesn't require a whole lot of space. Like I printed the overhead mount for my AMS. I don't know if you saw the video or not, but that thing, it runs so good. I've just got it sitting on top of a filing cabinet in there in my desk in the house, and it works good. Let me check in on that print, matter of fact, because it's been getting kind of cool in the house at night. Make sure it's bed adhesion didn't go south on me, because that thing, if one thing I've learned about 3D printing is those first 4 or 5 layers are by far the most important layers of the entire print, because you let the first few layers mess up and you'll end up with spaghetti. Like it'll look like something bad happened in there. No one want to see or hear me, so I got a good 3D printer. Yeah. Hey, get what you can get. I mean, great. I run through my filament pretty quick. I do have a couple of rolls right now that I started having a little bit of problem with it popping, and it was messing up my bed adhesion. And so I figure it's probably the humidity. So I just took those out, put new rolls in there. I've got a dehumidifier. I've got my kiln out here where I dry my lumber. I've thought about actually taking and storing my my filament out here in my kiln, but that thing, I don't run it all the time. And so I don't want to do that. But what I'm probably going to end up doing is just buying myself a little small dehydrator. Nothing too big, nothing too fancy. And because I've got one that we do like vegetables and fruits and stuff like that with. But I'm thinking about buying me another little small dehydrator. And then my wife's got the thing that like when we harvest our garden and stuff, we cut up the vegetables and put it in the little bags, and you put it in there and it vacuum seals it. So we've got that. So if I can just buy some way of drying the stuff out, then I would be able to reuse the ones, if they start getting a little too moist from sitting out too long, I can just throw them in there, dry them, seal them up, and then recycle them back. But I would love to have a way of having them enclosed in a climate controlled environment on my AMS, but I don't have that yet. Yeah, from what I've been told, and like I said, 3D printing is kind of new to me, but I've done a little bit of research and I've talked to a lot of folks, and PETG and PLA and PETG are mostly what you're going to use if you're going to be using it like in a shop environment, like these lens covers and stuff. If they were going to be out in the sun and they were going to be getting heated up to 120, 130 degrees, they wouldn't be any good. But they're in my shop. It doesn't get that hot in here. I mean, during the peak of the summer, when my air conditioner starts struggling, it may get up to 80, 85 degrees in here. The PLA does fine in here. If it was going to be outside in the weather, then you're going to want to go with something like PETG that's a little more rugged. If you're going to have it completely outdoors, then I've been told that ABS is probably the way to go. But PETG is pretty tolerant, but of course ABS is the way. Yeah, Larry, I've seen some of the dryers that they have out there, and I'm not against it. I keep hoping that maybe somebody might be like, hey, you want to try out our dryer? But you don't always get lucky with stuff like that. But it would be nice if it happened. Yeah. Well, it would be nice if I had a little dehydrator. I saw one on the internet somebody had made where they actually took and had the filament was in the dehydrator, and like that's where basically like everything fed from there. Like it came out of there and went straight into the machine, and that would be a great idea, I guess, but I just don't know that I have the space to dedicate to that. Maybe when I get my new shop built in 2025, hopefully, if everything goes well, maybe I can have me a 3D printing room in there, and I can have dryers and, you know, filament storage and all that cool stuff. Because I would like to get more into it and maybe get me a P1S or a X1 carbon or something. But like I said, I have overflowed into the house, and I can't be doing that. So, because like my toys are taking over inside the house. So yeah, and like I say, you can peek in. I can peek in on my machine. It's printing our lens cover. It's going to take it a little while, but it'll be done in the morning when I get up for sure. Because I'm not going to wait on it. It'll quit printing sometime tonight. But I'm gonna close that app out because it generally, like I said, it's 13%. It says on the print. It's showing that it's got an hour and 52 minutes left to go. And it looks like it's going pretty well. That camera, it's kind of hard to say with all those darn. I'll go look at it before I go lay down to make sure my trees is being brought up right, because those trees mess with me because I'm used to using the old squares. It was uniform, but with the trees, it'll actually be like a tree in circles. I don't usually have adhesion problems with this one until like if I start getting any kind of like moisture issues with my filament, that's how I'll know. It'll start spitting when it's doing the first layer, and then I'll swap it out. But yeah, like I said, I've got to come up with a drying situation. I just haven't done that yet. But anyway, all right. Last minute comments, questions, concerns, pokes, whatever. I got to get all my stuff put up and go in the house and get ready for bed. Got some stuff I got to do in the morning, and then I'll be in the shop, which I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 stove covers that I have to do. So those of you that are members of the channel, of the CLACKSTERs that we just started, I may fire up the camera and just let y'all kind of hang out with me while I work on stove covers tomorrow, and do it as like a members area type thing. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to give you guys a little something extra. So we'll see. But I've got to get all this stuff put up and get into bed, get up tomorrow, and all that good stuff. So what you making in the morning there, Jack? Jack said he's got to do another 3D carve in the morning on the CNC. I've got to do some stuff with the CNC. Vectric has asked me to bring some stuff over to Workbench Con to display for them so they don't have to fly it in. So I'm going to have to do some projects using Vectric and the CNC, which I've already got a bunch of stuff sitting around. I could just load up stuff that I've already made, but I want to try to make some cool stuff. Oh yeah, I've seen your lineman cars. Those are pretty awesome. They look like they would take quite a while though. You're running those on a long mill though, aren't you? Or have you upgraded yet? Are you still using? Aren't you using a long mill, Jack, or you got something different? 4 hours? That's not terrible. Not for a 3D. Yeah, I thought you said you had a long mill. Can't believe you ain't upgraded to the new alt mill there, Jack. I'm kind of wanting one of those alt mills. I kind of wish I had enough room to have an alt mill and a Onefinity. 10 by 16. Oh, 10 by 16 inches. Yeah, I kind of want to be able to get like different machines and have room for them, but I don't have it right now. I've seen somebody ask me earlier. I wasn't ignoring you. 278 days. That is 278 days until freedom. 278 days from now, I will be retired with 25 years of service, and I will be full-time employed here at the Clack Shack. That's going to be all I'm doing. So, y'all guys better hang out with me and let's figure out how we're going to make this work, because it's going to, it's a little scary. Somebody that's 50 years old and I've had a job since I was 14 years old, like for somebody outside of the house. It's a little scary, but we're going to do it. Well, welcome there, Rhonda Bonet. That sounds about right. Thanks for stopping in. If you aren't already, hit that subscribe button. We always having something fun to do. We're actually wrapping it up at the moment, though. You can go back and do the replay and see we started off doing leather, and then some of these guys wanted to do some fiber lasering, and then we wound up doing some 3D printing design. So it's pretty much whatever robot that you can think of, we do it here. CNC over there. So it's fun. Enjoy it. There's a whole bunch of guys here that have a whole bunch of tools and will to do things, and between all of us, we got a lot of knowledge. We don't all have all the knowledge, but between all of us, if you put it all together, there's a lot of knowledge in the room right now. So Jack's probably one of the most knowledgeable ones. So if you have any questions, Jack's probably your go-to guy. Jack does CNCs. He does lasers. I think he's even got, didn't he say he's got a plasma cutter, I think? Jack's got all of it. So there you go. Yeah, burn carve print, probably, because I am going to have to, because the insurance is going to be on me. I thought you had a plasma. I thought you were the one that told me you convert your long mill into a plasma, which I think is really cool. I'd be afraid I'd burn my shop down if I'm doing wood and cutting metal in the same room. But yeah. We got you M1 Ultra for Christmas. Hoping to learn from all of y'all. Steve over at Vintage Workshop is going to be your guy for questions with the M1 Ultra. And Steve does a lot of videos with us. We do our Sunday Night Live. But Steve actually has the M1 Ultra that he just recently did some videos with. And if you look at my videos, or if you look at our Sunday Night Lives, you can find Steve. But he'll be your guy if you have questions with that one. I don't have one of those yet. They may send me one. I don't know. But as of right now, Steve's the go-to guy on the M1 Ultra. But anyway, yeah, Rhonda, feel free to go back and watch the replay. We did a leather project. We actually made this little guy here. Now, I did this on the ComMarker Omni 1 because it's a UV laser. But you can do the same kind of stuff on either the blue diodes, the CO2s, whatever kind of lasers that you have. But yeah, when you go looking for Steve over Vintage Workshop, that's what his little icon is going to look like. That's a Vintage Workshop logo that I did on the CO2 the other day. But anyway, guys, I thank you for stopping by. I don't want to stay up all night. I do have something I do in the morning. So, like I said, Rhonda, feel free to back up and watch the replay. Just know that it's not live; it's a replay. But you can see what all we did, and feel free to subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, all that cool stuff. Because you never know what we're going to do around here. I do a lot with the X-Tool products, so there are some things that I might can help you with on the laser end of things. But like I said, Steve's going to be your M1 Ultra guy. But anyway, guys, appreciate you. Enjoyed it. And I'll let y'all know how the F1 Ultra lens cover turns out. Whoever that was that said they needed one, stay tuned. I'll let you know if it works in the morning or not, or tomorrow afternoon. I'll let you guys know if it works. Because there'll probably be a members live going while I'm doing the stove covers, just where we can hang out. So, till next time, guys, be safe and have a good day. See ya.